Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Hanna Hermanson, who is the founder of Dream Life is a Real Life. Hanna, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. So excited to be here.
Hey, so I always love, I tend to do this like every other interview. I always love when you hear a company name that someone chose, what goes behind that. And I interviewed Pia Silva with Worst of All Designs, and I'm like, oh my word, worst of all, why do we want to have the worst designs? And it was so neat to hear the story behind how they chose that name. So tell me, what is the meaning of Dream Life is Real Life?
Yes, I love this question because I wish there was a ton of strategy behind it, but
oh no.
It was something that I became infamous for.
Okay.
So a few years ago, I was transitioning from my small town, Midwestern cubicle lifestyle and starting to dabble in work as an entrepreneur. And I was having these experiences, tapping into, dream life and success principles, and I found myself in these places with these people, and I would literally say, is this real life?
Yeah.
I just was in so much awe, and, people started telling me, dream life is real, yep, you're living the dream, and so it became sort of comical in my entrepreneurial circles that I was the girl that was just like, is this real life? Oh, yeah, dream life is real life when you decide, and
That's cool.
It means a lot to me because it was really that, transition of owning it and being like, yes, it can be real for me. And now showing other people that we don't need to wait for the lottery or a quarter life crisis, but your dream life already exists. And so now it's my mission to show other people the reality of making that feel real for others.
Yeah. I think, when you were explaining that, it made me think of one thing, which is, how if you want to get yourself into a good mood, right? Tony Robbins would say, have that trigger point and jump up and down or push-ups or whatever. Well, I would suspect that given that story, when you then go and get introduced by someone to do a live speaking event, or you're introduced to speak on a show like this, and you hear that kind of puts you into a good positive state to deliver your message as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. People really seem to connect with it, and I'll get messages, some sarcastic and some actually dream life is real life. And yep. I do want to honor that, yeah, we can dream big, but also real stuff still happens along the journey. But as long as you decide that this is your dream life and your real life, it's so much more pleasurable to move through your day, your career, your life with that mindset.
Yeah, it totally is. And it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes, I love it.
So tell me a little bit about then your business, because I know you're a coach, but what exactly do you help your clients achieve, what problems do you solve?
Yeah, absolutely. So as most entrepreneurs, my work has evolved a lot. I used to be an academic advisor. That was my cubicle job, and I had to bust out of the cubicle, so became a yoga teacher. And along the way, I used a lot of my experiences from advising and yoga teaching. And my idea was to just give people space to dream big, which you can do as a coach. But then I quickly realized that in order to dream big, you need to take care of that basic need, that root chakra of income. And so what I do now is I help service-based, soul-based entrepreneurs or teachers or mentors create a really simple business plan or strategy that can quickly replace their salary or their income so that they are, yes, doing their purposeful work, but earning great money doing it. Because when we figure out how to earn great money, we bring more abundance into the world, and my clients and I are doing things like starting nonprofits and teaching yoga for free or writing that book. And so my whole mission is to just help people secure that abundance in their finances so they can go out and achieve the things that they really want to in life.
I think that, you hear the old Henry Ford quote, if you do what you love to do, then you don't have a job, and, or some variation of that. But at some point, isn't it true that there's some things that just don't pan out into something sustainable, into a business? Have you ever worked with a client that's like, wow, my passion is X, and you're like, wow, I don't know that we can monetize that. So, when you're working with clients that are looking to either make that slow transition or make that break, how do you counsel them in that regard?
Yes. And I love when I get that, oh gosh, that's your passion? Okay. Well,
yeah. Underwater basket weaving. Wow.
Yes. And this has become my expertise, is really pulling out of people like, okay, that's great, you love underwater basket weaving, but what other experiences or talents or skills do you have in your life that other people may be waiting for or in dire need for? And then we build a simple offer, what I call a priceless offer, so you can put, $5,000 to $10,000 into that client or into that service. And that's not a 40-hour week job, right? I create businesses that you can do remotely, do as much work as you want, so that you do have the space to fuel your passions. And, for the small era of my life that I was a yoga teacher, as much as I love yoga, as soon as you put JOB or job title on your passions, like it has a different feeling. So that's my area of expertise, is working with people to, niche out their passions and also the skills and the talents that they can create a priceless offer around. And this is how we create the dream life. With all, we build a life and then we build a business that can support that.
Yeah, that's really, really key. It's kind of like going through some coaching programs years ago. I remember the phrase non-negotiables, and if you look at your calendar, what are the non-negotiables? And if it's family-based, life-based, and then you're working your business around it. Now with respective balance, because I'm going to have 90% of my day just on goof off stuff that I love. Well, you got to live, you got to eat and have that balance. But when you have those things that are non-negotiable, now all of a sudden you can factor things around that. And I think that's another big piece, is that flexibility that this type of lifestyle brings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, another piece of this is so many people that come to me are non-negotiating the wrong things.
Yep.
So a big one that people come to me with is a blog. They think their blog is their passion. This is what they're meant to do. How do I just monetize my blog? And that's not, I don't coach people to make priceless blog posts. That can absolutely be an aspect of your marketing strategy, of your life, of your, spiritual journey. But that's one of those things that when people are focusing on just writing a blog or just being consistent in their Facebook group, I help them identify, again, how do we put this high price tag or this high ticket into your systems? Not taking away, but blogging is not exactly a non-negotiable.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and this is another common, coaching technique, but I always attribute it back to way back in the day. There was a financial advisor that I remember hearing this, that he trained his advisors on, which is, hey, what's important about this, whatever it is to you? And they answer it, and you're like, ooh, that is really important. Now, why is that? And then you go, why, a few levels, and without, getting really like, come on now, seriously, you're a 2-year-old asking whys. But when you get to that final, well, you know what? It really is super important because, and now that's it. So to your point about the blog, they might think or want to monetize that blog because they want to get their message heard and reach the most people. But you then could go, seeing your personality, what if you turned that camera on you and did Facebook Lives walking in the park, or whatever the case is. You love fresh air and walking your dog. Why don't you have, daily dog dialogue with, Dina or whatever it is. And now all of a sudden people are like, oh man, I love the park. I love the outside. I love dogs. And you've got a message to share. I love that. And they're like, blog what? I don't need a blog for that. Man, I can do this.
Exactly.
So cool. Yeah. I totally get it. Okay, so let's talk about having other people talk about you. You recently contributed to one of your Forbes articles on having other people talk about you because, isn't it? So I want to get your feedback, but it makes me think of this. I can say everything about me that is so wonderful and great, but it's me, with a megaphone. But when someone else says you need to talk to Mike because he is, now they're contacting me because they've got that nice warm introduction, and it comes across so much more influential when someone else says it. So what is the power of having other people talk about you?
Absolutely. So a lot of the fundamentals of my coaching are based on creating a legacy that's going to last, building influence, and building abundance. And that's why I love having expert positioning or influencer marketing be a huge role in whatever you're trying to grow, because again, like you said, if you're just out there talking about yourself, first of all, that's going to die when you run out of breath or you don't feel like posting anymore. So we want to be incorporating collaborations and having other people extend your platform by sharing your mission or your work on their blog, on their stage, on their podcast. Because, of course, it's a win-win relationship. The people that are sharing your information are engaging their audience, and you're winning also because it's a whole new audience that you are not hustling for or, worrying about SEO on your personal blog. So this is a strategy that I coach all of my clients, especially when they're starting out their business, is to identify the key players in their field that they can collaborate with. And, like you said, have others talk about you. It goes so much farther in the minds of viewers or clients because there's so many people out talking about themselves with these online digital marketing strategies these days. You really rise above the noise when you're being supported by others.
So I remember some sales trainers will teach you, hey, get business by referral. Love that. Agree with that. Check. Well, then the next step is teach people how to speak about you to refer you. So wouldn't that go along with what you were just saying here, but which is if you've got your list of people you want to have talking about you, well, let's make sure they're saying the right thing at the right time. And so what kind of guidance do you give that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, your network is your net worth.
Yep.
So the more that you can be in the room with influential people, showing up in real life is such a valuable strategy these days. And I believe that when you are yourself, it doesn't matter so much if they're introducing you the right way or at the right time, but you are standing on a steady platform. And that's something I really help my clients get clear on. What is your mission and what is it that you're offering people, so that no matter when you come up in conversation or when that event organizer thinks of you, they know what you're going to bring because it's who you are. And I build personal brands in that way.
Yeah, that's a really big piece, is building your personal brand, because in reality, you mentioned legacy. I mean, that does kind of live, your reputation precedes you, and the legacy, lives on beyond when that interaction was not like, long after you're gone, but even long after you're gone from that meeting. How about that, right? Because don't we find ourselves, and I do this so many times, I buy something, let's say online, and then I go Google it after I've bought it to reinforce that I made a good decision. So maybe people are Googling us before and after an interaction to just reaffirm that, okay, yeah, they were a good, solid person, and you want what they find out there to be positive. Obviously you don't want bad things out there, but you want enough good things that people are before the meeting or even after the meeting that people are like, that's the person I want to do business with. Right. And the beautiful thing about this structure that we're talking about today, or what I coach my clients on, is high ticket sales or high ticket enrollments. And that means that you need to have your personal brand, be you, be honest, be authentic. And so if there are people that interact with you or are interested in you and they want to go check you out, that's great. But we don't need every single person to resonate with us, because that's not how the world works, Yeah. Some people like milk and some people like water. Like, we're all different. And so positioning yourself as a real person that has, specific stories and a clear brand and
standing on a platform, then when the people come and see you, they can make their decisions, and you don't need to be chasing people or convincing people or talking about yourself.
Yeah.
Like we have mentioned already. Yeah.
And then how about this? What are your thoughts around consistency? Because I have a feeling that some people hear things like this and go, oh, okay, here's these 3 things I need to do. Check, 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 all done this month. And okay, now I'm done. These things we're talking about need to be done consistently, ongoing, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am so grateful that success does not depend on talent or skill or ability, and that success only comes down to consistency and accountability.
Yeah.
Because you can implement any strategy. You can try anything. You can put up anything on your website. But if you don't have the stick-with-it-ness to keep showing up and to, be consistent, I think it's the only secret to success in anything that you do, whether it's exercise, business building, maintaining your mindset, totally key.
So tell me, let's kind of wrap up with this thought. What is one thing that you would say to someone listening to this that says, okay, this message is resonating with me. I need to be authentic. I need to be consistent. I want to find, my dream life and turn it into monetization, and high ticket. That sounds good too. What's a step or two that you would recommend that someone would start right now down that path?
All right, I have a couple of. Is that all right?
Yeah. Ask for one, you give me a bonus. That's over delivery. Yay.
Okay, amazing. So the first thing that I do consistently that I totally contribute to my ability to grow a business and leave, a legacy. And then I want to just quickly clarify. To me, a legacy is, yes, it would be great to be on Oprah's couch or to have a plaque at the high school. But when I think about legacy, I think about leaving something in someone else that they're going to hold on to for their life, and they might pass on, and that sort of ripple effect. And whether or not it's my name or my business that people remember, I want to leave something in other people that is beneficial to the world in general. So something I contribute to my ability to do that is a daily practice, consistently, visualization. And lots of people meditate and write their goals down, but the added bonus is to feel the feelings and act as if you have achieved that, 7-figure mark, or being in 20 countries with your service, or a certain weight. Okay, feel what it's going to feel like. Move through a few scenes in your mind with that accomplished. And this is quantum physics, that when you align yourselves with that energy and that vibration and that level of success, it comes so much faster. And I could talk to you all day about the great things that happen when you, raise your vibration. But just give that a try. Just close your eyes and walk through a day in the life in your perfect body or in your perfect career. So that's one thing that people can start doing. But with any sort of consistent mindfulness practice, we can't just leave it there. And so taking action today to bring more gravity around that dream or that idea that you have, because the most foggy place, and I see so many of my clients come to me, is inside of your own head. And the longer you're in your head with an idea, meditating, visualizing, pondering it, the more foggy it gets. And action brings clarity. So I would encourage you to reach out to a few people. Start with your safe people if you're just starting out, with what is that big dream. And, you've heard this before, that your dreams should be so big that they scare you. Yeah. So start talking to people about that charter school you want to start, or that yoga certification you want to get. And the more that you do that, you talk about that, you're going to get feedback, you're going to get insight, and you'll start to see the steps that you need to continue taking. Like I said, action brings clarity. Get out of your own head as much as possible.
Awesome. Well, Hanna, thank you so much. It was really neat getting to know you and listen to your passionate energy, and I really appreciate your time on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.